All right, ladies and gents, you know what day of the week it is.
Yes, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's Friday, baby. Best week or best day of the week, should I say? Apologies.
All right.
How you feeling today?
I'm hyped. It's Friday,
Yes, sir.
best day of the week.
Yes,
We
sir.
got exciting stuff planned.
Yes, sir. We have our, as you guys can see on the screen, that's currently on your screen, kind of our layout for tonight. We have a new little segment we're going to be introducing in the NBA slate of things tonight. We'll leave that for some surprises later. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned.
Absolutely. We'll get into the thick of it, of
Sir,
course.
kicking it
Bring back our
off.
beautiful faces.
Hello, everyone. Back where we always kick things off here in the MLB part of the world.
And we finally got what I've been screaming for the past three
Yeah,
or 4 weeks.
finally
Shohei
happened.
signed, baby.
Yes, sir. As any baseball fan or anyone, any sports fan in the world probably already knows, as it's been plastered everywhere the last few days. Shohei is on his way to Los Angeles to play with Mookie Betts and the Dodgers.
A
Wow.
team that already looks stellar, got the top player of probably our generation,
Yeah.
and then just picked up a couple days ago after, or I think yesterday or this morning after finalizing his contract, Tyler Glasnow
Absolutely.
pitching. So
Just
deadly.
stacking up on depth. Now, I love the Tyler Glasnow move. We'll get more into the Shohei thing here in a minute, but I really want to touch on this real quick. I love the Glasnow move in the sense of we know Shohei's not pitching this season. Obviously, they bring in Shohei. He's probably going to be a DH. He's going to hit some balls. He's going to knock some home runs out of the park. But Tyler Glasnow brings back what you're missing from Shohei's arm. So now they still have a pitcher they can play in the rotation, someone that's proved to be really, really well right-handed pitcher, can sling the ball. So
Exactly. That was the
big ups
biggest
for LA.
worry we talked about is obviously you have a generational player, but one of the biggest things he brings to the field in his pitching is gone this season. So a
Absolutely.
stellar pickup on their end.
Now, I do want to talk about the contract side of things real quick because this
That,
might be one of the biggest slash weirdest contracts I've ever seen.
yeah,
So
backloaded
he
like
signed
crazy.
a 10-year, $700 million contract, but I'm confused. I understand what he did to an extent, but what was it? Is it the first 5 or 10 years he's making
Yeah,
$2 million?
that's what I'm
And then
confused.
I
Everything's
think
backloaded a
yeah,
lot.
I think because he wants it as that security for after he retires. I get that. He's
Exactly
probably
that
already stacked.
Ken Griffey
Trust me.
bagged where he's being paid while he's sitting at home on the couch at 50
Exactly.
some years old.
But yes, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's the first 10 years that he plays baseball from LA, $2 million a year. The next 10 years after the contract is over, which I'm assuming he'll probably be retired by then, $68 million a year for sitting at home
A year.
doing that. He will never, ever, ever have to work another day in his life. Like
Yeah.
he already doesn't, but like
Yeah, exactly. He's already playing his dream and then
the biggest contract in sports history,
history. All of
all
sports.
of sports, everywhere.
I saw a joking TikTok about he was training his son to play NFL or something because of their money and he's like switching up to the Shohei project, baby.
$700 million is more money than someone could spend in an entire lifetime. Like, what do you do with that kind of money?
Be lucky to make 700 million
No,
in
ever,
two
yeah,
lifetimes.
that's what I'm saying. Like, we thought Patrick Mahomes' contract was fat, $500 million. This man is 3/4 of the way to being a billionaire
Yeah. And
in,
it's
in
going to be
one
doing it
contract.
while sitting at home retired.
In one contract.
This dude could still have sponsorships, other contract deals, etc., and is
And that's
already
he
set
does.
for
He
10
has
years of
the amount
retirement.
of endorsements and money he gets from that side of things is why he put that $68 million to the future.
Yeah,
He doesn't
because he's
care
cool.
about that money right now. He doesn't
Yeah,
need it. He makes so much money already being the best player in our generation and just being Shohei. Like it's crazy to me because everyone leading up to the Shohei signing was like, where does this UCL tear play a factor in his contract?
exactly. Our biggest conversation and one of our biggest clips was how much does the money differ?
And it didn't. It
Exactly.
didn't. It
I
went. It
literally
went
was
up.
looking at our previous Shohei clips to see if I could bring something up now that he signed.
No.
And our biggest key point was like, oh, how much will the money differ? And this dude got the biggest contract
He made
in
more than what
sports.
we
So
expected him to make before the UCL tear, before
exactly.
going down for his second Tommy John
He
surgery.
could have been fully healthy and got this two-time MVP, and we probably still wouldn't have guessed that.
I mean, I would have like if he would have got this back without getting hurt. It's like, okay, you know what? Like this is
It's
crazy,
gonna
but
be
like we get it. But
yeah.
after this second surgery, not pitching for the first season, it's just like, why commit 700 million to this man over
You
the next two
automatically
decades?
committed to this player for your lifetime in hopes to God that he's
It's
at least a half of what he was.
yeah, it's wild. But let me say though, we talk about this contract and Shohei, but this Dodgers team, man, if they can put it all together and Shohei can at least come out and hit 44, 45 home runs, I think they're World Series finalist favorites. Like it's
Exactly. That's
just
the thing. They automatically went and got pitching depth with for any
yeah,
team this last season was an issue. And you
right.
get a star in Glass now.
One of the best hitters, if not the best hitter,
And then yeah, you pick
all
up
in baseball.
Shohei. So regardless of him not pitching, you filled some holes and got one of the best batters, regardless, already in the league. So
Right.
I'm may not
I'm
be a Dodgers fan, but I'm hyped for the
I'm
Dodgers.
gonna watch Dodgers baseball. That's
Yeah,
for
that'll
sure.
be exciting.
Shohei in a Dodgers jersey just looks cool, as you guys can see or seen on our preview screen up in the corner.
This
But
probably isn't a hot take in the slightest, but if there's any way to bet for like a team breaking the home run record, I'm going for the Dodgers.
ooh, we might. I wonder if MLB does that, like future award
That's what
type
I'm
bets
saying.
on. Yeah,
If I'm going for a team to break a
yeah.
franchise record this season, home run is easily a Dodgers slate pick.
Mookie Betts, who already is, we know, last year was
Yeah,
knocking
now I'm
them
just
out
going
of
to
the
be
park.
hanging
Yeah,
out with
yeah. Just
Shohei, cutting up in
yeah.
the
Wow.
clubhouse.
These pitchers, I know he can't pitch, but he brings that insight to these guys already on the
Exactly.
roster that can just learn from someone so advanced as Shohei Ohtani. It's
Exactly.
just
Those little tips. And regardless of not pitching, he's still one of the best hitters. So
it's insane.
we'll see how it unfolds, but
Yeah,
it should be exciting to say the least,
that
especially if
leads
you're a
us
Dodger
right. Oh yeah, wow. If you're a Dodgers
fan.
fan, big ups to you. Um, I do want to mention though before we close out the MLB talk, because Shohei is what we were waiting for.
Exactly.
I knew I was gonna do this, and it's because I'm terrible with names. But we mentioned a few weeks back, I think at this point, about the other
The
Japanese
other,
guy
yes, I
coming
remember.
over, and I know I mentioned at one point that the Dodgers had shown a lot of interest in him, and that was his top landing
Yeah,
spot.
weird
And
how that played out.
it's just like that's something that I want to see unfold. Like, where does he go now? Does he still end up in LA? Is he asking for Shohei type money? Obviously, he probably
Exactly.
can't ask for Shohei type money, but what's the bag he's looking for? Where does he end up now?
Where does his pool go from
Right.
that
Do the
Shohei getting
Dodgers
that bag?
need to add another player like that? I mean, obviously it never hurts, but
Exactly.
you
It's
got
just it's another risk.
the MLB is a no salary cap type of league. They can pay whatever they can afford within their franchise.
Yeah.
So it can obviously still happen. I mean, money's not an
They
issue.
could fire every janitor in the stadium to make enough cap. So
Absolutely. They can hand it to you,
or
then
have their bottom pitchers from the bullpen that are got enough energy to go clean up the stadium after the game. Or you're
that,
losing your salary, bud.
oh man. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. I'm interested to see where he goes though. But that about wraps us up for the MLB side of things.
As exciting as everything's been.
Yeah. We are now preparing for obviously as most of our fans know what comes up next in the NFL side of things, which is where we really enjoy things. Obviously we have Thursday night football to talk about. What a game that was. We'll get into that here in just a minute. But
Shoot, we
the Week 15 recap, and obviously Week 3 of our patented 1v1 fantasy football draft.
absolutely
The whole
our
league.
our third rendition of our newest segment of the NFL live draft between hosts here, Travis and John,
Yes,
of
sir.
course.
Been a lot of fun so far. 2 weeks in. Obviously, if you guys were paying attention, we know John won last week. You guys have to stay tuned to find out if he ends up 2-0 or Mr. Trav bounces back. So we'll see how that plays
See,
out. But first things first, I want to talk about this Thursday night football game. My God, bro, Raiders and Chargers.
Aiden O'Connell is the next coming of Tom
No,
Brady.
hold on. Before we get into this, I just want to put out that these lineups on paper is Aiden O'Connell versus Easton Stick. Zamir White is your lead running back in Las Vegas. Austin Eckler has turned into one of the most mid players in football over in Los
Already
Angeles.
coming out and saying that he was going to be splitting tackles with the backups.
Yeah.
Or splitting carries.
But if you guys are football fans, you know what happened. But, if you haven't heard of this game yet, you probably won't expect what's
And
to
my
come.
God, I hope
These
you're not a
games.
Chargers fan because switch teams now.
Yikes. We will get into the Chargers thing here in a minute because I do want to talk about, the coaching situation over in Los Angeles. But first things
Absolutely.
first, the Raiders hung 42 points on the Chargers' heads in the first half of that football game.
The
Aiden
first
O'Connell,
3 touchdowns, I wasn't even tuned
wow.
into the game. I
No,
won't lie. I was doing
no,
something
yeah,
else. I'm pretty sure trying to get my son to sleep still. Every time I refreshed the search, it was a new touchdown. I'm like, what is going on?
bro.
Because obviously, the Steelers fan, there were jokes earlier, a couple weeks back, Steelers and Patriots, not going to be a
Right,
high game.
right.
I still expected something. This game,
Not at all.
not.
Easton
I
Stick versus
texted
Aiden
you
O'Connell.
9 a.m. What are we doing any
Coming
bets?
off a game where
It's
they scored 0 points last week.
yeah.
0.
Both teams, we easily projected 6-3 type of game.
If that.
People on Facebook, even our craziest bet would have been like 21-14 if you had to take a kidney out of me to predict something over 15. And then that
Came close to what the Dolphins did to Denver back
one
a
of
few weeks ago.
the second or third highest scoring game.
Ended that game 63-20. 63 points from an offense led by Aiden O'Connell and Zamir White.
Devontae Adams has been a shell of himself without a legitimate quarterback.
But
And then
my God.
Josh Jacobs is the first running back in the NFL to attribute negative yards to himself.
Yeah.
So that's something. The O-line has looked horrendous all season. The only player you've been able to point out on defense as a slight spot's been Aiden or Max Crosby.
Yeah.
I don't know why I about repeated Aiden. And then you guys come out and look like the greatest team in the NFL. What is going on? And I don't want to hear the first excuse was the Chargers defense is just that bad. They held the Cowboys to 20 points, the highest scoring team in the league. They've held some of the other top teams like the 49ers to 17 and etc.
Absolutely.
But 63 to the Raiders? No, something's up.
And didn't we, speaking of something up, I think something is up in Los Angeles currently. Brandon Staley is packing his bags. And it's about time.
Something we predicted?
Yes, we did actually predict who was on the hot seat.
I was about to say,
a few weeks ago.
You should go ahead and tell everybody your premier pick. Since, a couple fans may know, I posted it in one of the groups, but
so
you need to expand your premier pick for this job because I think it's the best.
My bold prediction for the head coaching job for Los Angeles next year. I think the rest of this year they'll kind of bring in an interim. I don't think they're going to go out and hire anyone right away.
Yeah,
they already kind of lost their season. Herbert's gone for the year. They know they're not making the playoffs. They're not doing anything this year. So another coach that was on the hot seat in that same episode was Mr. Bill Belichick over in New England. New England has been awful. I don't think Bill Belichick has enough left in his career to take the time to rebuild that New England team to something that he can go win with.
Exactly.
So what better place to take your talents to Los Angeles? Bill Belichick to the Chargers is my bold prediction for the offseason.
With a team that, as you said, if had the right coaching staff, maybe a certain coordinator just needs change.
More.
But they have the right pieces to be dominant.
Great.
And for a perfect Bill Belichick revenge storyline.
Go out one more year with the team that's already established, has been built together in the last few years. They're all relevant with each other. They know what's going on. They can be good. We've seen them be good before. To bring in a guy like Bill Belichick to a group like that would be tremendous. He's got one more year left in his tank. There's no better place to go right now. Other than we kind of talked about it. I don't know if I could really see it, but Belichick to the Bills could also be an option, I guess, somewhere that could be a desperate coaching need, but we haven't seen.
I still think there's more holes in Buffalo than just Sean McDermott. I think we've discussed that. He's been the scapegoat every time they lose a game.
Would Bill Belichick really take his talents to what's been a long-time division rival?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Regardless, of me needing a coaching job, being a Steelers fan, it'd be hard to take on anybody else in the AFC North.
Bill Belichick's got a lot of money, and he's getting real old. He needs to enjoy the rest of his life out in the warm weather
I
in Los
think
Angeles
some
and go win a Super
exactly.
Bowl.
I think somebody else mentioned the Raiders because Tom Brady's newest ownership is
Yeah,
in Las Vegas. But
I don't think.
when it comes to reality,
Right.
and if Bill wants to prove
He
himself,
wants to win.
a foundation, the Chargers are the best spot for him.
Oh, without a
Absolutely.
doubt. Without a doubt. I'm calling it now. If you have to clip this, you got to write it down. You got to timestamp it. Whatever you got to do, come back to this episode. Bill Belichick signs with the Chargers this offseason. All I'm saying.
Then Trav his money.
That's all I'm saying. Anyways, that's our Thursday night football game. If you want to pull up the slate real quick for Week 15, we'll go a quick run through over that real quick before we get into our patent fantasy draft every single week. Aiden O'Connell, though, man, I think he's gonna be good. Week 14.
Yeah, look at me.
Week 15. We got Week 14.
All right.
Uh,
Start the very beginning of things.
That's
Monday Night
Monday night,
Football.
up at the top here. Here we go. We talked about the Pittsburgh and these guys right here. All right. Rundown: Bucks beat the Falcons 29-25. Bengals come out on top. Cincinnati stand up over another
Absolutely.
local team in Indy. Jake Browning looks like he can lead a team
Looks like a
somewhere.
franchise quarterback.
He looks good. Bengals are looking
And
okay.
the Bengals, I'm not trying to say in any way that he's better than Joe Burrow, but obviously not.
Yeah.
But he has made himself look really legitimate in the same offense that Joe Burrow looked steady, obviously injured and all this.
Right.
But he is holding himself under the same O line that obviously injured basically Joe Burrow. So
Absolutely.
it's got a point to be proven.
Let Jake cook, baby. Browns over the Jags in what was another troubled game from Trevor Lawrence and an injured ankle he's dealing with. The Browns' defense is just too much for him. He wasn't 100%. Browns take it 31-27.
Somewhat of a surprising season.
What is the game?
Opinion.
That's going to be hard to talk about for me. The Jets overtop the Texans 30-6. The score isn't what matters to me here. CJ Stroud's health is what matters to me.
The first concussion for a star-studded player.
He took a hit, bro. And to see, obviously, he's young. He's going to take hits. He's going to learn. But to see him already taking a hit and being that injury prone at this level already is kind of scary because we know how good he can be.
It's another one of those things of protecting your money, and they're going to have to bulk out the O-line.
Absolutely.
If you want CJ Stroud to do CJ Stroud things, he's going to need more than 2 seconds in the pocket every play.
Yeah. So prayers up to him, hoping for a speedy recovery. He has been ruled out already for this weekend's game, but let him rest up. Hopefully getting back to Texas make a playoff push. You never know. Speaking of that game real quick before we move on, Zach Wilson looked good.
Beautiful.
He looked great in his first start back in
I'm pretty sure before that game, he said to one of the defensive players, "What's the worst that could happen? They bench me again." So
you go into it with that
had a
mindset.
point to prove.
Do your thing. He did his thing. Ravens over Rams, and what could probably have been the game of the week, an OT finish. A 76-yard punt return for the win by the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken. Crazy ending to that game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had them in a money line and about cried, and then I saw the Ravens won. It was real confused until I saw what happened in the last 5 seconds of the game. So
yeah, it was a cool play. I watched it live. Bears Lions. Bears finally get their revenge over Detroit after blowing the lead in their last
this
matchup.
is another game where your Super Bowl pick I mean, it's not just
scary,
your Super Bowl pick. Obviously, other people have been high on them. Detroit fans obviously are high on their own team, but a couple games here, they're starting to look scary.
This game is scary, but you also got to think of the fact that this is an indivision showdown. They play each other twice every single year. The Bears know this team. They almost beat them last time they played. They blew a 16-point lead or something like that in the last few minutes of the game. This week they didn't blow that lead. Jared Goff looked a little rough. If the Lions are going to be a playoff team and a Super Bowl contender, Jared Goff has to watch his turnovers.
They're starting to find
so much.
They're starting to find out the secrets to Dan Campbell's offense, and I feel like they obviously don't have the magic that some rosters may have, but Dan Campbell's done a great job. But some teams are starting to catch on. So we'll see. They got a lot of season to play. So
Facts. My Saints finally, baby, put a W in the column. Tied, three-way tie
eat them
currently in
W's.
the division. Let's go, baby. Still got a chance at the playoffs.
The whole division is
Yeah,
buns. I hate to break it to you.
yeah, I know.
You
I know.
guys
We're
should be
terrible.
way ahead.
Yeah, we're
But
done.
the whole division in general
Yeah.
right now, it's just
What it is. I'll take my W's when we can get them. All right.
facts.
28-6 over the Panthers, baby. New Orleans, stand up. Come on, baby. We'll take it. Yeah, like I said, three-way tie in the division. Still hopeful for the playoff. What was? There's not even enough to talk about in this game.
One of the worst games in NFL history.
The lowest scoring game I've ever seen in my entire lifetime.
Yeah.
Vikings beat the Raiders 3-0. I mean, Jay Jettis came back, had 2 catches, 27 yards, got
And injured again
in the first quarter.
So
who knows what's going on in Minnesota? I believe they have named Nick Mullins the starting quarterback this week.
but the team that, just struggled and didn't score,
Yeah,
team that just lost by 3
scored 60
in a game of 3-0,
Yeah.
just dropped 63. So
42 in the first half, 21 in the first quarter. Whatever.
Nothing.
Yeah. In division showdown, the 49ers keep rolling over the Seahawks 28-16, proving why they are the best team in football.
Absolutely.
Bills over Chiefs in what was a close game like they always are. A little disappointing, I guess, in the stats factor, but another controversial ending to a game of Kadarius Toney on game-winning play
Absolutely.
being offensive offsides.
I think this was a Josh Allen prove-it game. Almost lost it, but I get Patrick Mahomes being upset, but be upset at your team for being buns, not the refs, because they didn't tell an NFL player that makes $1 million a year that he wasn't in the right spot. He can check where he's at. Dude should realize when he's 5 yards in front of the center that he's offsides.
And if you go back, there was clips from that game. He'd done it multiple times. There was about 5 or 6 screenshots of where he lined up over top of the football. So I don't know if I can fault the refs. It's a good call, but to miss it the whole game and then call it on the game winning
The biggest
play
issue is
is
when they called it.
it's a little
And obviously
sketchy.
that's upsetting, especially if you're a Chiefs fan or a Chiefs player at the time. But
Right.
last year they called that same play. They called a flag on that same play twice. The season before that, once. This season they have already called it 11 times. So
It's insane.
you got to watch yourself this season, offense.
It's getting, they cracking down. Broncos over the Chargers 24-7.
Family stand up.
Ride, baby. Let's ride, I guess. Bronco country. Let's ride. Russ doing his thing.
Yeah. Chargers have looked bad, but made the Chargers look bad again.
Yeah. I mean, they got a chance at the playoffs. Shout out to Denver for turning it around.
Yeah.
Still a whole middle finger to Sean Payton, but that's
compared to last season, they're a whole different team right now.
Can't stand Eagles continue to be destroyed by top NFC teams. They're beat down from the Cowboys 33-13. They took, notes from the 49ers and did what they were supposed to do.
This is the problem. Eagles have looked tough when it comes to games that mattered. The Cowboys are now at the top of their division, so the Eagles are basically in a wild card spot.
Right.
Being tied for the top seed, but this is where you got to worry about the playoffs. This is why you were
these games matter.
Fighting for the playoffs last year. I mean, you guys come out and look like one of the best teams against almost like the Cowboys, terrible teams, but then the games that matter come out laid duds.
Absolutely. We'll see how that NFC playoff picture plays out the next few weeks. Monday night doubleheader to end Week 14 in 2 games where the dog wins. The dog barks, baby. Giants over the Packers 24-22. Tommy DeVito continues to roll in New York and do what he does. I mean, he's playing good football. His mom washes his clothes, but he's slinging the rocks. So,
exactly. He comes home to cook spaghetti.
Yeah. Titans finish a comeback over the Dolphins when they were down 14 heading into the fourth quarter. Win that game. Will Levis looked elite there in the fourth quarter. Him and D-Hop found a
the
rhythm.
Dolphins finally looked to show a lot of their flaws.
Yep.
And another reason why they're outside of the Super Bowl picture.
the playoff picture, the Super Bowl predictions have changed a lot here these last few weeks, and I think it's only going to continue to change.
Because they're losing to teams they shouldn't be losing to. The Dolphins are a team that puts up 70 points, and then you lose to such a bad team, and then the Eagles are one of the best records in the league, and then losing to bad teams.
Right.
Where their only losses are coming to.
It'll be an interesting end of the finish, and I'm so excited for playoff time. It's going to be, I don't think, it's going to be another Chiefs-Eagles matchup, so I'm excited to see who prevails when it matters.
Absolutely. I don't think we may see the Chiefs in it. So
right. Playoff football is going to be fun this year, ladies and gentlemen.
49ers may be in it. That was my pick, but the Bengals.
My Lions are going to, or not. Okay, I'll rephrase. My Saints are going to be there. Second team, the Lions, not more than the Saints. Let's make that clear. Are also going to be there. So it's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited.
Leads us into our draft time, baby.
Oh, baby. So, as always, we're going to kick it off with a Week 14 recap, and we're going to reveal results from this matchup. We've already calculated these, and we know who wins. Quick rundown on each other's teams before I announce the points. John's team, I'll let you do your team.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
My team consisted of Dak Prescott at quarterback, CMC and Tony Pollard filling out my running backs, A.J. Brown and Jamar Chase at my two wide receivers. My tight end was Dalton Kincaid. And then in my super flex, I had J. Jeff, which, as you heard, wasn't the best pick because he had two catches.
How that played out for you here in just
Absolutely.
A few minutes. My team, quick recap. Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Travis Etienne and Rashad White fill out the running back position. Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb, number 2, number 1 receiver. Travis Kelce at tight end. And Patrick Mahomes in the super flex. So, I will say, if you guys tuned in last week, we had some decent weeks from both sides. John came out on top by 1.9 points to take the week 1 W.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But this week was a little bit of a different outcome. Definitely lower scoring. This final score was 104.72 to 84.94. So definitely a big difference from last week. But with the winner coming out to be your boy, baby, we bounced back 1-1. Let's go. Came out on top. Jamar Chase, Dalton Kincaid, Jay Jett has laid a dud for you.
Absolutely. And I knew the Dalton Kincaid pick was going to be risky.
I tried to tell you.
Knox coming back. I thought the KC rivalry was going to bring out a lot, but like you said before we even reviewed the game, stat-wise, it wasn't the biggest thing for either team.
Right.
So, and then J. Jeff, that's just bad luck.
Absolutely.
That's terrible luck. Jamar Chase, I don't know what happened with him. Because, like I said earlier in the day, Jake Browning found everybody but him. So,
and last week, that's the only person he could find.
Exactly.
So, make it make sense, But, which means leads us into week 15/week 3 of our annual tradition here.
Absolutely.
With the draft. Which I guess means you're going to have to pull up the slate again so we're not on a bye week or anything. But that leaves me with the number 1 overall pick, I would assume, right?
Yes, sir. I was about to say.
Coming out with a W. Set this up real quick over here. It's just 2 seconds here, guys.
And we got Saturday games this week.
A big Saturday slate.
Not used to the Saturday NFL games. Get your bets in, ladies and gents.
Right.
That's why you tune in to the Travis and John show. Get your reminders. We're here on a Friday for a reason.
Preparing you for the weekend. Just 2 seconds here right on this now. My apologies.
Of course, getting the rosters laid out.
Didn't come fully prepared, I guess. All right.
Will be exciting. Time to split the tie and see who goes up 2-1.
All right. Rosters are down on paper. The slate is right here in front of us. Leaves me off with the number 1 pick, like we just announced, since I am the reigning winner.
It's crazy because this isn't just your normal 6-8-man fantasy league. This is 2 people with every team in the league on the board besides the bye week team.
And the Thursday night football teams.
Absolutely. So whatever happens, happens.
Right.
Thank God we didn't pick up Aiden O'Connell.
Okay. So I'm going to kick us off here with a usual number 1 pick, and I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to take him this week. My reward for being the current winner, I'm going to take Mr. CMC himself. John has had it the last 2 weeks. I'm gonna take him.
Just a player you got to stash, you know?
Right. I feel like he has to be the number one pick. He's a guy that's gonna produce every week. All right, CMC to kick us off.
Which leads you up next with your number one pick.
He's a beautiful pick at CMC.
I think I got an idea of where I would
But
want to go.
I think that leaves us with almost the clear cut number 2 in most fantasy leagues as well.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, division matchup with the Jets. Hoping for another breakout as he seems to get in the end zone every week now. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, Tyreek Hill. All right. Like I said, I kind of have an idea where I want to go with my team this week. So I'm going to take the next pick off the board. I'm going to go with my wide receiver 1. And I'm going to go with a guy that I had last week, but has been tremendous the last 4 or 5 weeks. I'm going to go with Mr. CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, that was my next pick. I can't stand you.
It's my wide receiver 1.
Can't stand you.
It's all right. Doesn't feel good having the second pick, huh?
It doesn't. Not at all.
Now you know how it feels. I think I kind of know who I want to go next, too.
Bit of a board here.
We're going to save that. It is a bit of a board.
You know what?
What you doing with it? What you doing with it?
I'm scared to.
What you doing with it?
Bijan Robinson.
Wow, okay.
Gotta fill out my running backs.
All right.
I'm worried after the CMC pick. I know he's always a candidate for a big game.
This is facts.
I feel good about him this week.
All right. I'm gonna follow this up. I kind of have a layout of where I want to go with my team, so we're gonna blow right into these.
I bet.
My wide receiver 2, I'm gonna go with next, a guy that has had tremendous back-to-back weeks. It's gonna be a little concerning because I'm gonna stack a team here, but I'm going with Mr. Debo Samuel, wide receiver 2, a guy that's had 2 touchdowns in back-to-back weeks.
Absolutely, coming in playing a running back and running Wildcat again, showing why this 49ers team has been so amazing and why their depth is one of their biggest key positions.
Absolutely. All right, that leaves you up next. Where are you going?
I think I'm gonna go with a faithful player I've taken a couple times, and Mr. AJ Brown.
Okay.
Get me another receiver in there, and it's a big Monday night prove it game for them against the Seahawks. So
absolutely, I like it. Filled out our wide receiver slots. It leaves me up next. I'm gonna fill out my skill position. I'm gonna go with my RB2, a guy that has been absolutely amazing since he's returned from injury. I believe the ranked number 2 projected fantasy running back this week behind CMC. Mr. Kyron Williams himself from Los Angeles.
I've never had faith in a Los Angeles running back.
He has had 25 plus point games
or Kyron
the last 5 weeks in a row or something. He's projected 22 points this week. He's tremendous. We love Kyron Williams. Leaves you up next. Who you filling out? Who you going with?
I think I'm gonna go ahead and fill out my running back position as well.
All right.
And I'm gonna take Saquon Barkley against your favorite Saints.
Yep, I get it. So we gotta hope for a downfall for Saquon this week.
I gotta hope for a downfall on the Saints.
Yeah, well, it's
maybe he can get in the end zone 4 times and y'all still win. Okay.
Maybe. Maybe we'll have to wait and see.
We could both win.
All right. That leaves me up next. All right. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take my QB1. Put a lot of thought into this. I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go with this decision. I'm gonna do it on a guy that's kind of on a little bit of a streak here. A big game this week against a big team that I think they can pull out. I'm gonna go with Mr. Josh Allen in QB1.
Ooh.
Buffalo and Dallas go head to head this week.
This is the first season Travis has been a Josh Allen fan, and the first season I've been a Josh Allen hater. So it's been a crazy season for us too.
I'll rock out, switch things up a little bit. I usually go Hurts,
but you know what? I'm gonna switch things up too because I got a lot of faith in this guy this week.
Okay.
Mr. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's a player that either is going to run in the end zone or toss in the end zone, but they're scoring at least once.
Absolutely.
They've been beautiful this season, so
I like it.
But they haven't got a lot of discussion. They're up there with the Cowboys and Eagles now at 10-3.
Absolutely.
That is facts.
So,
all right.
I think it's more because, the Mark Andrews injury, and it's more of when do they lose, but they're doing it, so. Put
I
some
agree.
respect on him.
All right. I'm going to put the pressure on you. I'm going to leave my super flex open for the moment. I'm going to take my tight end one, and I'm going to lock this guy in. He's been the number one tight end in fantasy football this year. Mr. T.J. Hawkinson over in Minnesota. I think
Of
Nick
course,
Mullins
and
coming in
I was about to say,
this
got to
week.
have a check down player to throw to.
Exactly. TJ Hawkinson's going to get a lot of
They
looks from a
expect
quarterback
Hawkinson to
like
have
that.
10 plus catches.
That boy is my tight end one.
All right.
You're up next. I guess you
I
could
don't.
technically take your tight end and leave the
I
pressure
don't.
on me, but
I was say I don't think it's a lot of pressure because I was gonna go my tight end too. I'm set on my favorite, Mr. Sam Laporta.
we had a bad week last week. Like 4.7
I
points.
know. I know. It's the Lions get back. I got a bunch of revenge games on my slate. This is the game the Broncos finally showed that they're not a complete turnaround.
So the pressure goes back on me. Like position
Absolutely.
wide open.
One super flex on each team left.
Wow. Where do you
Every
could go?
game
You
on
could
the
go
slate, any
anywhere.
position. Yeah.
Anywhere. Any offensive player that's going to score fantasy points. Oh, this is tough. I won't lie. I haven't really been thinking about this. Man. Man. I don't know, dude.
I know it's stressful.
This is so stressful.
This is literally the problem with Superflex is you get any player in the NFL besides defense, obviously, and kickers and punters, but you get the idea.